The action seems to be heating up in the old Apocrypha.
And in my mother's womb was fashioned to be flesh in the time of 10 months, being compacted in blood of the seed of man.
That's right.
Of the seed of man.
The word seed is sperm, and sperm comes through having sex.
It's shut out of your father's rod,
right.
To put it in layman terms, in his penis.
That's right.
That means a man put his penis in a woman and bust off in it.
Then the angel said to him, "Take out the entrails of this fish, and lay up his heart and his gall and his liver for thee. For these are necessary for useful medicines."
The rest of the chapters of the book of Esther,
Go ahead.
which are found neither in the Hebrew nor in the Chaldee.
Greetings, fellow worker slaves, podcasting at 128 kilobits from the Fortress of Squalitude. This is the Atheist in the Trailer Park podcast. I'm your host, Tucker. Professor Fuzznuts is curled up in my seat, so I'm having to stand, and Buttons is curled up asleep on the couch. Yes, it's a podcast hosted by a guy and he's cats. Get over it. And I've got a few things to go over before we get to Heretic Woman and I reading from the Apocrypha. The first is that I'm not sure if Carla Lewis will be able to be a guest on the show or not. We both happened to be at an atheist meetup last night and talked a bit, and she's really busy right now. Apparently, she's quite in demand in the wake of Trump's tweet about preventing people who are transgender from serving in the military. I did manage to get her thoughts on that subject while we were talking. She said she wasn't surprised at the Pentagon's reaction to Trump's tweet, as she said that she knew the kind of work which had gone into changing the regulations to allow transgender people to serve. So the military wasn't just going to toss out the regulations based on a tweet. She has no doubt, however, that someone within the administration is busy crafting the executive order for Trump to sign. She also said that she felt Trump was trying to divert attention away from other issues with his tweet. I wish I could have recorded our conversation, but the acoustics were horrible, so I didn't even think about it. We gabbed about a number of things, including how poorly veterans are treated by politicians, socialized medicine, and more. If I can have her on the show, I will, but as I said, she's pretty busy right now, so we'll just have to wait and see. It does, however, appear that Bruce Carlson from the My History Can Beat Up Your Politics podcast will be on the show soon. The interview's scheduled for this upcoming week, which I hope we don't get screwed by technical issues, as I'm going to have to take time off from work to record it. I need to thank Chris from the Podunk Polymath podcast for hauling my ass to the meetup. He started holding them last month, and it's really my only chance to get out of the house and have an intelligent conversation in meat space with anyone. Oh, and wonder of wonders, my work is giving us the day off for the eclipse. I don't know if I've mentioned it or not on the show before, but the best place in the country to see the eclipse is not too far away from where I live. As it is, the difference in what folks there will see and what we'll be able to see from here is only a few seconds. It's been estimated that as many as 200,000 people will be in town to see the eclipse. The population of the town is only 40,000 people, so everything is going to be overwhelmed that weekend. For once in my life, I'm glad I don't own a car, because traffic is going to be a nightmare until everyone clears out of here. People are charging as much as $2,500 a night for the eclipse weekend. As with everything, however, there is a catch to us getting that day off. We're going to have to work 10 hours every day for the rest of the week, which means I'll have to be getting up at 3 o'clock in the goddamned morning to get to work on time. Not something that I'm looking forward to. I also suspect that part of the reason why we've got the day off is that the owner intends to make money by renting out parking spaces for the eclipse. One place in town is charging $130 just to park your car in their lot to watch the eclipse. I'm going to attempt to get pictures and live stream the eclipse on Facebook. Hopefully, we'll have clear weather for it. One of the guys I work with has seen a total eclipse before, and he said that the problem they had, which we're likely to have, is that the moment the moon passes in front of the sun, the temperature drops so quickly that all the humidity in the air begins to condense and you can't see anything. Given that it tends to be humid here, there's a good chance that we'll have this problem, if it's not raining that day. I know you're probably not wondering about this, but I'm going to mention it as I'm sure you'll find it funny. Yes, some of the local Christians are taking this as a sign that God will be returning very soon. Allow me to quote the comments one Christer posted in response to an article about the eclipse. Dear atheists and other faithless, repent of your sins. Jesus is coming back. This is a sign. Got it? Good. Don't ever say a Christian never reached out to you. Revelation 6:12 reads, I looked when he opened the sixth seal, and behold, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as a sackcloth of hair, and the moon became like blood.
Oh, I'm so scared.
Interestingly, at work, nobody but me and one other person seemed to be excited about the idea of watching the eclipse. None of them can see what the big deal is. Have I mentioned lately that I hate my job? Last thing before we get to the Apocrypha is that I may have found something which will work better than the jerry-rigged table saw idea and won't cost as much as a table saw. It'll be about half the cost of the table saw, which is more expensive than the jerry-rig solution, of course, but this is more likely to work than the jerry-rigged one. I'm still needing donations to help with replacing the deck roof, so any contributions you can make are greatly appreciated. I'll have a link to my GoFundMe page in the show notes. Now, on to the Apocrypha.
And the Lord answered and said unto me, You are rightly astonished regarding the departure of man, but you have not judged well regarding the evils which befall those who sin. And as regards which you have said, that the righteous are carried off, and the impious are prospered. And as regards to what you have said, man knows not your judgment. On this account, hear, and I will speak to you, and hearken, and I will cause you to hear my words. Man would not rightly have understood my judgment unless he had accepted the law, and I had instructed him in understanding. But now, because he transgressed wittingly, yea, just on this ground that he knows about it, he shall be tormented. And as regards to what you say touching the righteous, that on account of them this world come, so also again shall that which is to come on their account. For this world is to them a strife and a labor with much trouble, and that accordingly which is to come a crown with great glory. That's so... They don't understand the law because he didn't let them understand the law, but they're gonna get fucked over anyway.
That sounds...
And then everybody does a lot of coming at the end.
Yeah, that seems to be it.
Alrighty then.
And I answered and said, O Lord, my Lord, lo, the years of this time are few and evil, and who is able in his little time to acquire that which is measureless? Okay. And the Lord answered and said unto me, boy, this guy really likes starting these sentences with and.
And.
With the Most High account is not taken of time nor of a few years. For what did it profit Adam that he lived 930 years and transgressed that which he was commanded? Yeah, but he lived the bulk of that apparently after he did his transgression, not before.
Yeah, exactly.
Therefore, the multitude of time that he lived did not profit him. He was north of dirt, so I'd call that a positive. But brought death and cut off the ears of those who were born from him. Well, whose decision was that? Not his. That was yours. And wherein did Moses suffer loss in that he lived only 120 years, but he was able to write his own death? That was pretty cool.
That was pretty impressive, I gotta say.
And inasmuch he was subject to him who formed him, brought the law to the seed of Jacob, and lighted a lamp for the nation of Israel.
Okay. So, yeah. You're gonna die, but not for 800 fucking years. Oh, well. And people wonder why we say that Satan was the guy, or Lucifer, whoever the fucking snake was the one who actually did not lie. But anyway. And I answered and said, he that lighteth has taken from the light, and there are but a few that have imitated him. But those this language is awful. But those many whom he has lighted have taken from the darkness of Adam and have not rejoiced in the light of the lamp. And he answered and said unto me, wherefore at that time he appointed for them a covenant, and said, behold, I have placed before you life and death. And he called heaven and earth to witness against them, for he knew that time was but short, but that heaven and earth endure always. But after his death they sinned and transgressed, though they knew that they had the law reproving them, and the light in which nothing could err, also the spheres which testify, and me. Now, regarding everything that is, it is I that judge. But do not you take counsel in your soul regarding these things, nor afflict thyself because of those which have been. For now it is the consummation of time that should be considered, whether of business or prosperity, or of shame, and not the beginning of thereof. Because if a man be prospered in his beginnings, and shamefully entreated into his old age, he forgets all that prosperity that he had, and gain. And again, if a man is shamefully entreated in his beginnings, and at his end prospered, he remembers not again his evil entreatment. And hearken, though each one were prospered all the time from the day on which death was decreed against those who transgressed, and in this end was destroyed in vain would have been everything. Zion has been taken away to hasten the advent of the judgment. Oh, I guess that's part of the next part? I don't know.
Yeah, they just forgot.
But what I thought was funny, though, because it says, where is it? Oh, heaven and earth endure always. But science says that's not true.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but the earth formed, and when the sun eventually goes out, it's all fucked.
And we really are not 100% certain what's going to happen to the cosmos, whether it's just going to fade out or if it's going to fall back in on itself and go bang all over again.
Exactly. But we know that the earth will not endure always.
Yeah. Okay. Therefore, behold, the days come, and the time shall hasten more than the former, and the seasons shall speed on more than those that are past, and the years shall pass more quickly than the present years. Therefore have I now taken away Zion, that I may the more speedily visit the world in its season. Well, you can do that at any time. You're God.
You're fucking God. Like...
Now therefore hold fast in your heart everything that I command you, and seal it in the recesses of your mind. What's that song about windmills in my mind? Now, and then I will show you the judgment of my might, and my ways which are unsearchable. Guess she's never heard of Google.
Yeah.
Go, therefore, and sanctify thyself 7 days, and eat no bread, nor drink water, nor speak to anyone. But you can have meat, apparently.
Yeah. I could still eat macaroni.
Yeah. And afterwards, come to that place, and I will reveal myself to you. What place? The field with the flowers? And
No, maybe that place in the recesses of your mind.
could be. Well, that would, you need to go where the field of flowers are to get there. 'Cause you gotta have
Yep.
them poppies.
Yep.
And speak true things with you, and I will give you commandment regarding the method of the times, for they are coming, and tarry not.
Is he trying to say that the world's gonna end?
I think so.
Okay, and how long ago was this written?
Sometime probably after the fall of Jerusalem. So what?
A long fucking time ago.
Yeah, probably somewhere between 500 BCE and 1 AD.
That's a long fucking time ago.
Yep.
All right, the prayer of Baruch, the son of Neriah. And I went there and sat in the valley of Kidron. Okay, that's the place. In a cave of the earth. What other kind of cave is there?
Yeah.
And sanctified my soul there, and I ate no bread, yet I was not hungry, and I drank no water, yet I thirsted not. And I was there till the 7th day, and as he had commanded me. And afterwards I came to that place where he had spoken with me. Okay, so it wasn't in the cave. And it came to pass that at sunset, that my soul took much thought, and I began to speak in the presence of the Mighty One, and said, O you that have made the earth, hear me, that I have fixed the firmament by the word, and have made firm the height of the heaven by the Spirit, that have called from the beginning of the world, which did not yet exist, and they obey you. You have commanded by the air by your nod, and have seen those things which are yet to be, as those things which you are doing. Well, okay. You that rule, great though the hosts that stand before you, also the countless holy beings which you did make from the beginning, of flame and fire, which stand around your throne, you rule with indignation. To you only does this belong, that you should do forthwith whatever you do wish. Well, he's God. He's going to do that anyway. Yep. Who causes the drops of rain to fall by number upon the earth, and alone knows the consummation of the times before they come. Have respect under my prayer. Did he just tell God to respect him?
Yep.
Damn, that's some balls. For you alone are able to sustain all who are, and those who have passed away, and those who are to be, those who sin, and those who are to righteous, as living and being past finding out. For you alone do live immortal, and past finding out, and know the number of mankind. And if in time many have sinned, yet others, not a few, have been righteous. Wait a minute. He just said God's the only one that's immortal, so all this heaven stuff is bullshit?
Yeah, I think you're right. Well, and also he talks about God being seated on a throne surrounded by flame.
Fire.
That sounds more like somewhere...
Yeah. Could it be Satan? I think Buddy might be just a little bit confused there.
the opium's kicking in. I've done opium once.
Right.
A buddy of mine, he he was on it for some kind of stomach infection that he had. And he gave me a shot of it, and the stuff was green, right? Like mouthwash. Yeah. But it was thick like cough syrup. And the one thing I really remember about it is I went home and I went to bed and I had this dream about a green ice cube in a completely black room. And it was just this green ice cube spinning. It was like on a turntable, rotating around and stuff. And so, it just somehow seems to fit in this segment for some reason.
That's funny.
You know where you preserve the end of those who have sinned, or the consummation of those who have been righteous. For if they were this life only, which belongs to all men, nothing could be more bitter than this. What the fuck does that even mean?
I'm not sure. Preserve the end of those. If there were this life only, which belongs. Oh, he's saying that, if you only had this life and we didn't have anything better to look forward to, that would be really shitty. Because he's basically saying life sucks and I'm really glad you have heaven. And he's saying, like, so if you were to make the sinners live longer or consume those who have been righteous more quickly, I guess, and if there's only this life which belongs to so in other words, damn, if I wasn't so extra special and holy and get to go to heaven, that would fucking suck, because I like to be better than everybody else.
Yeah, okay, that sounds as good as an explanation of any. For of what profit is strength that turns to sickness, or fullness of food that turns to famine, or beauty that turns to ugliness? For the nature of man is always changeable. Well, yeah, because otherwise you're dead.
Or as so fucking boring, you may as well be dead.
Right. For what we were formerly, now we no longer are. Well, yeah.
Duh.
There's a Bob Dylan lyric that goes along with that, I'm so much, what is it? I'm so much older now, I wish I knew what I knew when I was younger, or something like that.
Yep.
And what we are now shall not afterwards remain. That's given.
Yeah.
For if a consummation had not been prepared for all, in vain would have been their beginning. But regarding everything that comes from you, do you inform me, and regarding everything about which I ask, do you enlighten me?
Huh?
Yeah.
So if you look at the other one, so he's saying it's a good thing that you don't, let people live longer, because that would be unfair to the righteous people who die right now. And if you let, sinners live longer, then that wouldn't be fair. Because he's saying, if a consummation, I'm thinking a death, had not been prepared for all, then them existing from the beginning would be in vain. So he's saying that immortality is bad, even though God's immortal?
Sounds about right. Or maybe it's just really a long-winded way of saying only the good die young. Yes, indeed. It's saying that everything that comes from you informs me regarding everything about, I don't know, that last line, I'm like, fuck, what was that? Alright. So how long will that which is corruptible remain? And how long will the time of mortals be prospered? Until what time will those who transgress in the world be polluted with much wickedness? So he's saying, how long does bad shit have to
be around, I guess. Yeah. Command, therefore, in mercy, and accomplish all that you said you would bring, that your might may be known to those who think your long suffering is weakness. So he's like, hey, like, come on and smite those heathen people, because they're starting to say that, which actually I do say that, actually. Your God's a weenie because I've been telling him to smite me for 28 years. There we go. So he's saying, hey, those people are saying you're a weenie because you're not smiting them, basically. And show to those who know not that everything has befallen us, and our city until now has been according to the long suffering of your power, because on account of your name you have called us a beloved people. So, in other words, you need to show them that we kick ass and we're the cool people, and that's why we're better than they are. Okay.
Yep.
That's about it. Bring to an end, therefore, henceforth, mortality. Well, that's a mouthful. Yep. And reprove accordingly the angel of death, and let your glory appear, and let the might of your beauty be known. Let Sheol be sealed, so that from this time forward it may not receive the dead, and let the treasuries of souls restore those which are enclosed in them. For there have been many years like those that are desolate from the days of Abraham and Isaac and Jacob, and all of those who are like them, who sleep in the earth, on whose account you did say that you had created the world. And now quickly show your glory, and do not defer which has been promised by you. And when I had completed the words of this prayer, I was greatly weakened.
So, he's saying, God, stop being a prick tease and wipe us all out.
Yeah. Bring on heaven. So, to sum it up so far, he's basically saying, life sucks. It's not cool that you let wicked people live as long as us nice people. And you need to come down, kill everybody, and show them who's boss so that we can go to heaven and get rid of all this nastiness. Now.
Yeah, that seems to be about right.
Thanks a lot, Baruch. Fuck you.
And it came to pass, drink, after these things, that lo, the heavens were opened, and I saw, and power was given to me, and a voice was beard from on high. Arthur, stop groveling.
Groveling.
And it said unto me, Baruch, why are you troubled? He who travels by a road but does not complete it, or who departs by sea but does not arrive at the port, can he be comforted?
Oh, shit. That's fucking God. Would he not know why the guy is troubled?
Yeah. Or he who promises to give a present to another but does not fulfill it, is it not robbery? No, it's not robbery.
No. Judge Judy taught me that.
Or he who sows the earth but does not reap its fruit in its season, does he not lose everything? Not necessarily.
Mm-mm.
Or he who plants a plant, unless it grows till the time suitable to it, does he who planted it expect to receive fruit from it? Well, Jesus expected to receive fruit. I was just going
to say, Jesus was the guy yelling at the poor damn fig tree.
That's right. Or a woman who has conceived, if she bring forth untimely, does she not assuredly slay her infant?
Whoa.
That sounds like abortion to me.
Yep, sure does.
Or infanticide.
Well, he's saying untimely, so a woman who has a premature birth and it dies, that she's killed it.
Yeah,
that's what that
could be.
That's brutal.
Yeah. Or he who builds a house, if he does not roof it and complete it, can it be called a house? Actually, Technically, yes.
Yeah.
Tell me that first.
This God's not so bright.
No.
And I answered and said, Not so, O Lord, my Lord. And he answered me and said unto me, Why, therefore, are you troubled about that which you know not? And why are you ill at ease about things in which you are ignorant? Ignorance is bliss, apparently.
Yeah.
For as you have not forgotten the people who now are and those who have passed away, so I remember those who are appointed to come. Because when Adam sinned and death was decreed against those who should be born, then the multitude of those should be born was numbered, and for that number a place was prepared, where the living might dwell and the dead might be guarded. Therefore, the number aforesaid is fulfilled, the creature will not live again, for my spirit is the creator of life, and Sheol will receive the dead. And again it is given to you to hear what things are come after these times. For truly my redemption has drawn nigh, and it is not far distant as aforetime. So in other words, you don't know what the hell I'm doing. Shut the fuck up and be happy you get to go to heaven.
and I'm about to kick some ass.
Yeah, except we've been hearing that for a long time.
Yeah, well, what gets me, why does God need redemption?
Good point. And if everybody else needs it, why can't he just snap his fingers and be like, okay.
Yeah.
These people don't seem to quite understand what a god should be, or what omnipotent means.
Yeah.
He seems to be awfully limited for an omnipotent guy. Just saying.
Yeah, well, it's like I got in an argument with a guy one time because I said, okay, you've got an all-powerful God, yet he has to rest. I'm like, that doesn't sound all-powerful to me. Oh, he's all-powerful, but he has limits because there's a difference between power and strength. He's, this conversation isn't going anywhere.
That's not all-powerful, people.
Yeah. For behold, the days come, and the book shall be opened, in which are written the sins of all those who have sinned, and again also the treasuries in which the righteousness of all those who have been righteous in creation is gathered. For it shall come to pass, drink, at that time that you shall see, and the many that are with you, the long suffering of the Most High. So God has been suffering, huh?
Apparently.
Which has been throughout all generations, who has been long-suffering towards all who are born. So, basically, every time you give birth, you're hurting God.
Guess so.
Alike those who sin and those who are righteous. And I answered and said, But behold, O Lord, no one knows the number of those things which have passed, nor yet of those things which are to come. For I know indeed that which has befallen us, but what will happen to our enemies I know not, and when you will visit your works.
He's like, but I don't know what your time schedule is. He's awful ballsy to be saying this shit to God, you know? I mean, Onan just, jerked it on the ground and he got, splatted in a matter of seconds.
Yeah.
He wasn't even mouthy.
He's just like, now God's using me and I don't want to be used, so.
Yeah. Well, I don't think you have a choice, buddy.
Yeah.
And he answered and said unto me, You shall be preserved till that time, till that sign which the Most High will work for the inhabitants of the earth in the end of days. I'm pretty sure he's dead. And we ain't seen shit.
Unless he's the wandering Jew.
Oh, could be.
Yeah, because that's the apologetic that, Jesus saying, some of you who still live, will be alive when I come back. And so the apologetic is, well, there were a couple of people there who were granted immortality by God. And so they're not dead yet, and...
Ooh. Hey, wait a minute. Are those the 3 Nephites from Mormons?
Well, it's a non-Mormon tradition, but the Mormons do have a similar concept.
Same. Yeah, they're called the 3 Nephites, actually. Interesting. Okay, well, this therefore shall be the sign when a stupor shall seize the inhabitants of the earth, and they shall fall into many tribulations, and again when they shall fall into great torments, and it will come to pass, drink, when they say in their thoughts, by reason of their much tribulation, the mighty one doth no longer remember the earth. Yes, it will come to pass, when they abandon hope, that the time will then awake. And I answered and said, will that tribulation, which is much to be, continue a long time? And will that necessarily embrace many years?
Well, let's see here. I would say it started in 2016 when Donald Trump was elected president. And the question is, will it be 4 or 8 years?
Yeah, so what the fuck is a tribulation? Because that's really kind of vague.
It's any kind of, thing that you don't like.
Well, it's like going to a fortune teller and they say, I see change in your future. Like, well, duh.
Really? I see your skull fossilized and sitting on a shelf somewhere.
Yeah. That might be a little more, specific.
And he answered and said unto me, into 12 parts is that time divided, and each one of them is reserved for that which is appointed for it. In the first part there shall be the beginnings of commotions. Well, that's awfully specific there.
Beginnings of commotions. So what's that, like, I don't know, a bunch of guys having a fight at a ballpark or something?
Or John Belushi standing up in Animal House yelling food fight?
Yeah.
And in the second part, there shall be slayings of the great ones. Okay.
Who are the great ones?
Yeah, Grateful Dead?
Well, I think only one of them has croaked so far, and nobody killed him. Except,
Heroin.
Maybe his own debauchery. Yeah. Heroin, that could have done it.
And in the third part, the fall of many by death.
What's many?
Yeah.
Like, was that Ebola? Was that AIDS? Was that, some cholera epidemic?
Some kind of genocide? What?
The bubonic plague in the 1300s.
The Justinian plague and, whatever that was. And in the fourth part, the sending of the sword. What, somebody's mailing a sword and that's...
Oh shit. Anybody who's just mailed a sword to someone, you are an asshole. You're bringing on the apocalypse, man.
And in the fifth part, famine and the withholding of rain. So was that Ethiopia in the 80s? Somalia in the 90s?
I guess. I don't know. I hear Australia is having a problem with not enough rain. I don't know.
Yeah. And in the sixth part, earthquakes and terrors. Okay.
Yeah, okay.
Wanting. Huh? It's just wanting. And in the eighth part, a multitude of...
What happened to 7? What happened to 7?
Yeah,
you can't even fucking count.
I guess seven is wanting.
Okay, but it didn't even say 7. It just said wanting.
Maybe that, I don't know. Maybe that part got lost and he just, who the fuck knows? And in the 8th part, a multitude of specters and attacks of the Shedim. What the fuck is a Shedim?
I was gonna say, Google!
Yes, to the Googles.
Where did I lose my Googles?
Shedim is the Hebrew word for demons and also designates a supernatural creature in Jewish folklore. The word Shedim appears only twice and always plural in the Tanakh at Psalm 106:37 and Deuteronomy 32:17. It was possibly a loan word from Akkadian, in which the word Shidu referred to a protective, benevolent spirit.
So, ghosts and demons. Okay, dude, I was a ghost hunter for 4 years. That shit don't exist.
Yeah. And in the 9th part, the fall of fire. Does that mean matches don't work anymore, or does that mean it's like raining fire?
I don't know.
Because it's rained fire in a number of places, and yet we're still here.
Exactly. Oh, 10? Oh, yeah, that's right. There's 12 parts. Keep going.
And in the 10th part, rapine and much oppression. Okay.
What?
So that could be Europe during World War II, or...
Yeah.
You know, and in the 11th... Go ahead.
I was going to say, there's been a lot of oppressive regimes over the last few centuries.
Right, and what kind of raping are they talking about? You know, are they talking about sexual rape? Are they talking about the rape of, the environment?
According to the Googles, rapine, it's rapine, is the violent seizure of someone's property, so looting.
Yeah, okay, but... There's a whole lot of things that could be, you know. And in the 11th part, wickedness and unchastity.
Well, that was started, like, in the 60s, at least. Yeah. No one's ever been able to tell me what wicked is. Like, really, what is wicked? Because evil is a different thing, so what's wicked?
Well, if you're from Massachusetts, wicked is something that's really cool. It's wicked cool, man.
Well, yeah. Yeah. I've heard that before, but in the biblical sense, what the fuck is wicked? I'd be curious to know, because I've been told that I'm wicked, but I really don't know if that's true, because nobody can give me a definition.
And in the 12th part, confusion from the mingling together of all those things aforesaid.
Oh, so all that bad shit happens, everybody's just confused.
It all gets mixed up and turned into a milkshake of destruction.
It's the White House!
Yeah. I'm telling you. For these parts of that time are reserved and shall be mingled one with another and minister to one another. So feedback loop. For some shall leave out some of their own and receive in its stead from others, and some complete their own and that of others, so that those may not understand who are upon the earth in those days that this is the consummation of the times.
You know what I get from that?
A whole lot of nothing.
In 12 months, the White House will implode completely.
We can only hope.
Yeah, no shit. As long as it takes Pence and all of the Dominionist twits with them.
Oh, yeah. But you know that they're having daily Bible readings.
Yes. Good grief. Good grief. And somebody should sneak a copy of this shit in there and see if they notice.
They probably wouldn't. That's the sad part.
Yeah. All right. Nevertheless, whoever understands shall then be wise. Well, that makes sense. For the measure and reckoning of that time are 2 parts, a week of 7 weeks. And I answered and said, it is good for a man to come and behold, but is it better that he should not come and lest he fall? Okay.
So if you get your rocks off, your dick's going to get soft, so you don't want to do that.
Yeah. Or take some of that military-grade Viagra and keep it up for more than 4 hours. But I will... Yeah, go ahead.
There's a comic, D.L. Hughley, I think is his name, who, he's talking about where it says, if your erection lasts more than 4 hours, see your doctor. He says, screw that, I'm calling a hooker. Well, on a message board that I used to post at, there was a guy who was an actual doctor.
Yeah.
And somebody had posted that joke, and he was like, you have no idea what problems could happen if that situation exists in your, and he just, it's like, dude, it's a fucking joke. Don't read it into this more than
oh no. He's like, oh, it's gonna turn black and fall off. But I will say this also. Will he who is incorruptible despise those things which are corruptible? And whatever befalls in the case of those things which are corruptible, so that he might look only to those things which are not corruptible. That doesn't even make any fucking sense.
It's like the Department of Redundancy Department.
Yeah. But if, O Lord, those things shall assuredly come to pass, which you have foretold to me, so do you show this also unto me, if indeed I have found grace in your sight, if it is in one place or in one of the parts of the earth that those things are come to pass, or will the whole earth experience them? In other words, did you tell me this because I'm saved and I'm good? And is that going to be just here or everybody?
Yeah. Is it going to be this tiny little circle that we think is the sum total of the world? Or is it going to be in that larger place we don't know exists yet?
Exactly.
And he answered and said unto me, whatever will then befall will befall the whole earth. So everybody's getting fucked. Therefore, all who live will experience them. For at that time I will protect only those who are found in those self-same days in this land. So everybody else is getting their shit fucked up, but if I like you and you're in this little tiny circle, you're golden.
You're golden. So everybody else in the world who thinks, if they kiss Jesus' ass, that they're going to heaven, according to this, no. They have to go to the Middle East and kiss Jesus' ass.
Yeah. Oh, and speaking of Jesus' ass, this gal picked me up and gave me a ride into work this morning, and I got into her car, and she had a radio, the local radio station on, and I only got, part of what they were talking about on the show before they went to something else, but the part I heard was really interesting. The guy says, I love Jesus' golden diaper.
Oh, shit.
So I'm thinking, does that mean Jesus is like the goose that lays the golden egg, only Jesus has golden turds?
Maybe that's what the Easter shit came from. It's not the rabbit, it was Jesus shitting at the gold eggs. And people just painted them afterwards.
Yeah, could be.
Oh, fuck.
And it shall come to pass, when all is accomplished, that there was to come to pass in those parts that the Messiah shall then begin to be revealed. Okay? And Behemoth shall be revealed from his place, and Leviathan shall ascend from the sea, those two great monsters which I created on the 5th day of creation, and shall have kept until that time, and then shall they be food for all that are left. So, he's going to wipe everybody out and then feed them sea monsters.
Well, now everybody's going to be fucked up and confused and eating sea monsters before they get killed off.
I'm betting Cthulhu is not going to get eaten.
I'm thinking not. Now, is Behemoth land or sea, though?
That is a very good question.
Because it says Behemoth is revealed from his place, and Leviathan shall ascend from the sea, which makes it sound like they don't live in the same place.
Yeah.
Maybe, Behemoth is Bigfoot?
It could be. According to the Googles, or specifically Wikipedia, Behemoth is a beast mentioned in Job 40, chapter 40, verses 15 to 24. Suggested identities range from a mythological creature to an elephant, hippopotamus, rhinoceros, or buffalo.
Okay.
Okay.
Could be. Sort of, kind of.
So the attack of the buffalo.
All right. Ooh, the big, nasty, glowy red eyes.
The earth also shall yield its fruit 10,000-fold. Well, we are probably that much more productive today than we were whenever this was written. Since our agricultural methods have gotten so much better. And on each vine there shall be 1,000 branches, and each branch shall produce 1,000 clusters, and each cluster produce 1,000 grapes, and each grape produce a core of wine.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
a lot of wine.
Yeah. And those who have hungered shall rejoice. Moreover, also they shall behold marvels every day. For winds shall go forth from before me to bring every morning the fragrance of aromatic fruits, and at the close of the day clouds distilling the dew of health. And it shall come to pass, drink, at that self-same time that the treasury of manna, which is actually bug shit, shall again descend from on high, and they will eat of it in those years, because these are they who have come to the consumption of time.
Ew.
Yeah, it is aphid shit, as a matter of fact.
Aphids are so tiny, though. How could you, how many billions and billions of aphids would you need for that?
Well, there was a church in California where people thought manna was falling from it. And they would go up there and touch the tree and get it all over them and all this, And so, of course, naturally the scientists had to go examine it. And they're like, the tree's infested with aphids. It's aphid shit. and of course, the Christians were like, no, it's not. It's not aphid shit at all. It's manna. It's sweet. Aphid shit is actually sweet because there's an ant that drinks it.
Blah.
Yeah.
God, that's disgusting. See, when I was a kid, I was taught that manna was like fluffy bread cubes, like they did for it being Protestant. We didn't have wafers. We had somebody chopped up a loaf of bread, and that was communion. So I was taught that it was like bread cubes like we got at communion.
Yeah, I think it was the Ten Commandments where they show it, and it's like soap bubbles or something. That's kind of what I thought. But speaking of the Protestants and the loaf of bread for communion, at my dad's church, they would have somebody bake a loaf of bread, and that would be what they tore apart for communion.
Right.
Well, apparently one woman that they asked to do that for didn't understand the purpose of the bread.
Okay.
So she made raisin bread.
Oh.
And so they're tearing, and nobody realizes it until they're tearing it apart for the communion. And of course, raisin bread has raisins in it and stark splotches and all this, and everybody's kind of freaking out. And then they realize, oh, it's raisin bread. And it's sort of like, hey, you get your blood and your bread at the blood and bread at the same time.
It's like it's all a whole package.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Ay, ay, ay. And it shall come to pass, drink, after all these things, when the time of the advent of the Messiah is fulfilled, that he shall return in glory. Then all who have fallen asleep in hope of him shall rise again. Ooh, zombie party. And it shall come to pass, drink again, At that time, the treasuries will be opened, in which is preserved the number of the souls of the righteous. And they shall come forth, and a multitude of souls shall be seen together in one assemblage of one thought. Ew. Like, so zombie Borg? Okay.
That sounds like it to me.
And the first shall rejoice, and the last shall not be grieved. For they know that the time has come, of which it is said that the consummation of that... Ugh, God, who wrote this shit? For they knew that the time has come, of which it is said that it is the consummation of times. But the souls of the wicked, when they shall behold all these things, shall then waste away all the more. Okay, I'm wasted away, apparently. For they shall know that their torment has come and their perdition has arrived. So they're gonna have a giant zombie Borg party. And those of us who aren't part of the collective will freak out, apparently.
Man, that's... Now, I've got that Oingo Boingo song, Dead Man's Party, in my head.
Yeah.
And it came to pass, drink, after these things, that I went to the people and said unto them, Assemble unto me, avengers, assemble unto me all your elders, and I will speak words unto them. Well, when you're speaking, usually you are speaking words.
Words. And he's fucking God. Why does he need people to assemble? He could just talk to everybody at once.
And they all assembled in the valley of the Kidron. And I answered and said unto them, Hear, O Israel, and I will speak to you. But if you're not going to listen to me, I'm not going to talk.
Yeah.
And give ear, O seed of Jacob, and I will instruct you. No, the seed does not go in the ear. There's a couple of places you can put it. Ear, not really one of them.
Ask Onan where it's supposed to go.
Yeah. Forget not Zion, but hold in remembrance the anguish of Jerusalem. For lo, the days come, when everything that is shall become the prey of corruption, and be as though it had not been. Okay?
But as for you, if you prepare your hearts so as to sow them in the fruits of the law, that sounds messy.
I wonder what Andrew Torres would say about that.
Oh, can you sow your heart in the fruit of the law? It shall protect you in that time in which the mighty one is to shake the whole creation. Because after a little time, the building of Zion will be taken in order that it may be built again. But that building will not remain, but will again, after a time, be rooted out, and will remain desolate until that time. So they're going to build a big building, call it Zion, and abandon it, because God's going to root it out and leave the place desolate. Okay. Seems like a big-ass waste of time, but whatever. And afterwards it must be renewed in glory and perfected forevermore.
Quote the Raven.
Yes. That's nevermore, not evermore.
No.
This is the altar raven. What's the opposite of a raven?
A dove? Yeah.
Okay, quotes the dove, evermore. Therefore, we should not be distressed so much over the evil, which has now come over as, God, these people can't write. Therefore, we should not be distressed so much over the evil which has now come as over that which is still to be. For there will be a greater trial than these two tribulations, when the mighty one will renew his creation. Wait a minute. Renew his creation? I thought everybody was getting jerked all to hell. Or to heaven, sorry.
That's what I thought, too.
Oh, the shit gets more confusing all the time. And now, do not draw near to me for a few days, nor seek me until I come to you. So, okay, I told you this shit, now piss off and don't bother me.
Yeah, that mana, that's my semen, and you know I'm around when you see that.
Yeah. And it came to pass, drink, when I had spoken to them all these words, that I, Baruch, went on my way, and when the people saw me setting out, they lifted up their voice and lamented and said, "To where are you departing for us, Baruch? Are you forsaking us as a father who forsakes his orphan children and departs with them?" What a bunch of pussies.
Don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you. You know?
Yeah. Fucking hell. Wow.
Are these the commands which your companion Jeremiah the prophet commanded you and said unto you, "Look to this people till I go and make ready the rest of the brethren in Babylon, against whom has gone forth the sentence that they should be led into captivity"? Okay,
Prophet Jeremiah, what the fuck are you doing in this book? This isn't your book, so first of all. And second of all, what the hell are you saying? We're gonna have to message the dude and ask him.
Yeah. And now, if you also forsake us, it were good for us all to die before you, and then that you should withdraw from us.
Wow! They're so freaked out about this brute guy buggering off that they're, like, saying they may as well commit suicide? Really?
Or that when he pulls out, they're gonna die.
Oh. Okay. Wow. He's a busy beaver, isn't he? He's got the whole fucking town going.
No, he's fucking the whole town.
That's what I mean. Like, busy beaver, man. Like, where do you have time for that? No wonder he's talking about sticking it in their ear. He's run out of places. Oh, shit. And I answered and said unto the people, "Far be it from me to forsake you or to withdraw from you, but I will only go unto the Holy of Holies to inquire to the Mighty One concerning you and concerning Zion, if in some respect I should receive more illumination, and after these things I will return to you." Oh, I'm not leaving you. I'm just going to go hang out with God and talk about you behind your back, and if I find out anything, I'll let you know.
Or I gotta go take a shit.
And I, Baruch, went to the holy place and sat down upon the ruins and wept because somebody broke his toilet.
Or it was one of those, shits that feels like it's coming out sideways.
Oh, that would make you cry.
Yeah.
And he said, "Oh, mine eyes were springs, and mine eyelids a fount of tears. For how shall I lament for Zion?" He's building it again, dumbass. What did he just tell you? "And how should I mourn for Jerusalem? Because in that place where I am now prostrate of old, the high priest offered holy sacrifices and placed thereon an incense of fragrant odors." Oh, he is taking a big one. He's gonna burn incense after. "But now our glorying has been made into dust, and the desire of our soul into sand." Okay, God already told you what was going on. All you did was go and tell your people, who are a bunch of pussies, who bitched and moaned because you were going to leave, and now you're upset, even though you know it's going to happen? What the fuck's wrong with you? Yeah. Ooh, Vision in the Forest. This should be good.
Yeah. "And when I had said these things, I fell asleep there, and I saw a vision in the night."
He fell asleep on the can and had a vision. That was a hell of a dump.
It was an Elvis-level dump.
Yeah.
"And lo, a forest of trees planted on the plain, and lofty and rugged rocky mountains surrounded it, and that forest occupied much space." That That's why it's called a forest, because it takes a lot of space. And lo, over against it arose a vine, and from under it there went forth a fountain peacefully. Now that fountain came to the forest and was stirred into great waves. What? So the fountain got up and walked?
It's waving to all the trees. Hey guys, how's it hanging up there?
And those waves submerged that forest, and suddenly they rooted out the greater part of that forest, and overthrew all the mountains which were round about it. And the height of the forest began to be made low, and the top of the mountains was made low, and that fountain prevailed greatly, so that it left nothing of that great forest save one cedar only. Also, when it had cast it down and had destroyed and rooted out the greater part of that forest, so that nothing was left of it, nor could its place be recognized, then that vine began to come with the fountain, ooh, kinky, in peace and great tranquility.
Wow, chicka wow wow.
Uh-huh. And it came to a place which was not far from that cedar, and they brought the cedar which had been cast down to it. Huh?
What?
I thought that cedar was the only remaining thing.
So there was one tree left and the fuckers chopped it down?
Or they brought its dead brother up to it and said, here. So, if you see that joke somebody said, a tree house is really cruel because it's like going to a tree and saying, here, I killed your friend, hold his body.
Oh, yeah, that is kind of mean. Never thought of that. Only build your tree houses out of fake shit like laminate or something.
Yeah. And I beheld, and lo, that vine opened its mouth. I didn't know vines had mouths. And spoke and said to that cedar, art you not that cedar which was left of the forest of wickedness, and by whose means wickedness persisted?
What? Nowhere in the previous bit did it say the forest was wicked. It was just a fucking forest.
Right. And
it's just standing there minding its own business.
And does that mean that the tree was the cause of the forest being wicked? Or
apparently. Yeah. So if it's his fault, why not just have a beaver come in and take care of him and leave the rest of them alone?
Good question. And was wrought all those years, and goodness never. Okay. And you kept conquering that which was not yours, and to that which was you did never show compassion. And you did keep extending your power over those who were far from you, and those who drew near you. You did hold fast in the toils of your wickedness, and you did uplift thyself always as one that could not be rooted out. God damn! That is one hell of a run-on sentence.
Jesus, yeah.
Henry Miller would be proud. But now your time has sped and your hour is come. Do you also therefore depart, O cedar, after the forest which departed before you? So I guess the cedar tree is the root of all evil. It's not money. Okay. It's a cedar tree.
Damn, I got a bunch of them outside. I better do something about that.
And become dust with it, and let your ashes be mingled together. And now recline in anguish and rest in torment till your last time come, in which you will come again.
Okay.
So he's doing it twice?
Apparently. But, okay, so if he's not standing, then he's already been chopped down and he's just dying as you're talking to him anyway. And how is he, controlling the other trees if he's just standing there in the forest? These people are really sucky at analogies.
Yep.
Wow. Sorry, yeah.
Okay. And be tormented still more. So
nice.
The tree's gonna, the tree's killed, and then they're gonna kill it again, and then they're gonna torture it.
Nice. Nice. There's that good Christian love for you.
Yeah.
And after these things I saw that cedar burning, and the vine growing itself and all around it, the plain full of unfading flowers, and I indeed awoke and arose. So they burnt the tree, and the vine grew up all around it, like basically, sneering at it, and grew a bunch of flowers.
Yep. Datura flowers, I'm sure. Morning glory.
Yeah.
Which is a potent hallucinogen.
Oh, Grandma had a whole fucking giant wall of that in her place when I was a kid.
Yeah, you eat.
Interesting.
You have to be careful. You eat a certain amount of the seeds and you'll hallucinate. If you eat more than that, you get to go to the hospital and you're in
and then you get to meet Jesus. Oh, fuck. That's a weird-ass vine. It's a talking vine that snarks at people trees getting executed. That's nice. And I prayed and said, "Oh, Lord, my Lord, you do always enlighten those who are led by understanding. Your law is life. Your wisdom is right guidance. Make known to me, therefore, the interpretation of this vision, for you know that my soul hath always walked in your law, and from my earliest days I departed not from your wisdom." So he's like, okay, dude, I was taking a dump here in the holy place, and what does this vision shit mean? I love how people can just demand, they're like, we're all arrogant because we dare to question God, and here's these fuckers doing it every other verse. But God, why this? But God, why that? Tell me this, tell me that. But we're the arrogant bastards. Okay.
Yeah.
And he answered and said unto me, "Baruch, this is the interpretation of the vision of what you have seen." Why didn't you just fucking tell him in the first place? Seriously, as you have seen the great forest which lofty and rugged mountains surrounded, this is the word. Behold, the days come, and this kingdom will be destroyed, which once destroyed Zion, and it will be subjected to that which comes after it. Moreover, that is also again after a time will be destroyed, and with another a third will arise. This is sounding like Swamp Castle.
Yes.
But the third one stood up.
She's got huge tracts of land. We live in a swamp.
But father, I don't want any land. A third will rise, and that will also have dominion for its time, and will be destroyed. And after these things, a fourth kingdom will rise. Okay, so it goes beyond Swamp Castle. Will arise, whose power will be harsh and evil, far beyond those which were before it. And it will rule many times as the forests in the plain, and it will hold fast for times, and will exalt itself more than the cedars of Lebanon. And by it truth will be hidden, and all those who are polluted with iniquity will flee to it, as evil beasts flee and creep into the forest. Beasts are evil? Really?
Yeah, apparently so.
And it will come to pass, drink, that the time of its consummation, that it should fall, has approached. Then the principate of my Messiah will be revealed, which is like the foundation and the vine, which, when it is revealed, will not root out the multitude of its host. And as touching at that which you have seen, the lofty cedar, which was left of that forest, and the fact that the vine spoke these words with which you did hear, this is the word. Okay, that doesn't make any more fucking sense than the fucking original. God, you suck at explaining things.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Jesus is the smart-ass vine, apparently.
Yeah. Well, he's like the vine and the fountain. Ooh.
Ooh. Flowy.
The last leader of that time will be left alive when the multitude of his hosts will be put to the sword, and he will be bound, and they will take him up to Mount Zion, and my Messiah will convict him of all his impieties, and will gather and set before him all the works of his hosts, and afterwards he will put him to death. So Jesus is going to kill somebody. It's a two-fisted fighting Jesus, not that pussy-ass liberal Jesus.
Apparently.
Yeah. And protect the rest of my people, which shall be found in the place which I have chosen, and his principate will stand forever until the world of corruption is at an end. Therefore, it's not going to stand forever.
Yeah. The fuck? And they're talking about the mount. They're going to take this leader up Mount Zion, but wasn't Zion destroyed already?
Yeah.
Or is this the fourth incarnation?
Before.
And how do you build a mountain?
He's God.
I guess if you're... Yeah, okay. So it's Swamp Castle Mountain.
Swamp. And until the times aforesaid are fulfilled, this is your vision, and this is its interpretation.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes no sense. We've done about an hour of this, so I say we bag it, because we ain't anywhere near done with this thing.
Yeah. Holy shit, this stuff gets weirder all the time.
Yeah, so why don't you tell everybody about your podcast?
I will. I am one of 3 co-hosts on Beyond the Trailer Park with Beth, Morgan, and Tracy. And we are live Monday nights at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. We're a little earlier than we used to be. And you can find us on YouTube and Spreaker, Stitcher, iTunes, all of that stuff. So Mondays at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. This week we're talking with, I have her name over here, Natalie Newell, who does the Science Enthusiast podcast. And the next week I'm excited, we're talking to Greta Vosper, who is the out atheist United Church minister, which is, she's pretty cool. So we'll be talking to her. And I also pop up on Holy Crap, the vlogcast, which you can find at holycrapthevlogcast.com. And that's usually Sunday mornings at 12:05 a.m. on YouTube. And I know that's bloody early. But it is produced as a podcast later, so you can catch it afterwards too. So that about does it.
All right. Well, thank you for being here. Love having you on, as always. And I'm sure you'll be back for more of this crap.
I'm always willing to read more crazy shit from Jeebus. Wow. That is, like, these people must have had some serious drugs.
That's it for this episode of The Atheist in the Trailer Park Podcast. You can subscribe to the show on iTunes, Stitcher, as well as just about anywhere else podcasts can be found. Many of the episodes are also on YouTube. Follow the show on Twitter. @TParkAtheist is the show's Twitter handle. It's on Facebook at facebook.com/trailerparkatheist.com. If you happen to like the podcast, please rate it on iTunes. If you'd like to support the podcast, there's a donate button on the show notes page. You can support it via Patreon at patreon.com/TN Tucker. Thanks for listening.
Say goodnight, Fosnots.
All I know is this violates every canon of respectable broadcasting.
Damned cat.